There we go.
I like that.
We are going live. Hey, everybody, it's showtime. Showtime, and I'm a giant nerd. All right.
Do. Oh, yeah.
Ready to go live. Hello, everybody. It's a dinosaur. His name's Rex and blah 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 bloop. Do 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 do. Yeah! Tonight's live stream is sponsored by Makeno, Castle Siege, Starforge, and Blessed Dark hit Kickstarter October 15th. Hello, amazing people. It's Chris from the Charity Board Gamer. I finally decided to decorate and have a little bit of festivities going on in the background. So, of course, we've got the little Waldo the werewolf on the tree tonight. But I'm excited because I get to spend some time with Mike. If you don't know Mike has worked in some charities, in an organization called Path to Play. We're going to talk a little bit about that tonight. We're going to talk about the amazing things that he's done and some of the wins that have happened from his work. And we're just going to kind of have a good time, just kind of relaxing. If you want to talk to us, please put in the comments. I'll pop up the comments as we go throughout the time, any questions that you have. And I'm just going to kind of, we're just kind of going to relax. I don't know.
I need a minute to relax because that was adrenalizing.
I'm sorry. I love doing that thing.
That dinosaur was awesome.
That was, I got that from T. They gave that T from Haba. They gave that to me. I worked for.
Is that Tiffany?
Yeah, Tiffany.
Okay,
yep.
Yeah, I met her at Gamma a couple of years ago. Yeah. She's awesome.
Yeah, they are very cool. What T gave that to me after I worked some virtual conventions and stuff, and they were like, "Hey, what do you want?" And I was like, "I want that dinosaur. I want the dinosaur because when I met T the first time, it was at PAX last year.
Okay,
and T was playing with the dinosaur head." Playing Valley of the Vikings and was using it to bowl, and so ever since that I've just had a great appreciation.
There you go. Yeah, I want that. Hashtag I want that. Right. That's good.
I got extras. I got
you
extras.
And your toys. Oh, really?
I do.
Somebody might have to slip you a shipping address and a few bucks, maybe.
That sounds good to
me. My son loves dinosaurs, dude. If he had one of those in his room, he would go.
Oh, it's so good. It's so much fun.
He would lose it. Yeah. We actually ordered him the big my wife and I have been cringing the day where we take the dive with this, but there's the what's the name of that dinosaur now?
I don't know.
It's a big one. It's like a meter tall. It's a Jurassic Park dinosaur.
Okay.
You can't get it in Canada. It's I got to be careful not to say too loud because he's upstairs. But anyways, this thing is so hard to get. And we finally got this thing. We found it at a Target, shipped it to my friend in Buffalo. The shipping to get it over here was as much as the dinosaur. So,
oh gosh.
But he is going to lose it when he really loves dinosaurs. To him, it's not like a T-Rex. It's Pachycephalosaurus, Coelophysis, Baryonyx. He knows where they're from, how much they weigh. He's very passionate. Very passionate.
I don't know any of that stuff. I'm just you just said a bunch of words and I'm like, yeah, that sounds great. Yeah, I believe.
But I can't remember the one that we bought him. So
anyways. It's I like Jurassic Park. The only thing I know about Jurassic Park is really that one scene where the dinosaur eats the guy on the toilet. And it always makes me laugh. Growing up, that was my favorite scene, watching that film and just being like, oh, this is the best part. And so watching it with my kids and then hearing them laugh, it's like, oh my gosh, it's so good. It's so good. But yeah, so tell us a little bit about yourself. Tell us about what you've been doing, what you've been up to, and a little bit about talk about some board games and stuff that you're enjoying.
Well, and, I will tell you, I am discovering my connection to games again. Much in due part to how the last few weeks have gone, which we'll talk about later. But having the right kind of time where you're feeling like, I feel like gamers, whatever hobby it is, if it's board games, pinball, video games, whatever, if you're passionate about games, there are times where you feel like you're just kind of squeezing it in. Yeah, especially at the board game realm, because you pull out Trois or something like that, or it's it can be sometimes a grind. And I have missed just sitting at a table and knowing that I have nowhere to be or nothing else to do after the fact. So my son is a big Minecraft fan. Him and I have been playing on the video game platform. That and Minecraft Dungeons, and my nephew Ryan, who is in his 30s now, we connect on Discord. We've been going through Minecraft Dungeons every Friday night. It's sort of become our ritual. And then we just played the board game Minecraft as well with my nephew, and it's by Ravensburger. Is that how they?
Yeah, Ravensburger, because German. Yeah. So it's like, I found out that it's not Catan, it's not Catan. It's
Catan. Yeah.
It's Catan. And so it's Ravensburger. Yeah.
Ravensburger. Yeah. So, watching, learning about the mechanisms of that game, it was relatively straightforward for me, but I was very curious to see, my son is 7 now. He just turned 7. So it was interesting for me. And this is just about every game we play. We've played Lanterns, designed by Chris Chung. He really loved King Domino. And all of those games call for a lot of forward thinking. So in the case of Minecraft, you have to determine what kind of value you really want to get out of building types. And you have to think ahead to when you're in the first phase, you got to think ahead to the second phase. And subsequently, when you're in the second phase, you got to start planning your tableau ahead to make sure things set up. You might not need that piece right now, but you sure might not need it later. I love being at this point in time with my son where he can display those skill sets. It's very, very exciting when, you hope that they gravitate to the things that you love. And almost with the exception of Call of Duty, all of my gaming experiences include him. And it's been awesome. Call of Duty is taking up a lot of my time right now too.
They don't have Call of Duty for kids at all yet? No.
Well,
that's Fortnite, really, isn't it? I don't know.
It is Fortnite, and I haven't tried Fortnite with him. He plays a lot of Overwatch. Now, that said, I don't want to open up a can of worms.
No, bring it.
I don't believe video games dictate the way a child behaves. I believe wholeheartedly it all comes down to parenting. No, I'm not going to let my kid play Call of Duty, but he's watching Jurassic Park. He has seen dinosaurs eat people too. So I know he understands it's not good to pick up a gun and shoot somebody with it. So he did come down here. He caught me playing Call of Duty one day, and I did let him watch me play it. This new version of Call of Duty isn't as grotesque as I've seen some others. I actually think they took a bit of a back step with it, and that's not my reason for letting him watch it or anything like that. And I don't make a habit of it, but I said to him right after, I said, those conversations that parents are going to have with kids about, this is not good to do in real life. And he knew right away. He's like, oh, absolutely. No, daddy, that's okay. And I asked him if he was okay, and he said he was okay. And I said, let's not make a habit of this. Okay. If I'm playing this game, it might be better just to stay back for now. And no, you cannot play it. There's plenty. So we're trying Risk of Rain 2, which I don't know if you've heard of that one, but it's
I haven't. No.
Really, really great cooperative game. It's almost like a Minecraft Dungeons kind of thing, except it's a first person perspective, kind of like Halo meets Minecraft Dungeons, or that Diablo style kind of kind of game. And that's a lot of what I've been playing as of late. I've been working from home since March. I work for the Canadian Broadcasting Corporation, and I've been with the CBC now for 17 years and work on their morning show. So I get up at 3 a.m. and waltz down in the basement right here in my pajamas, and just over here to my left is my editing station. And I'm very thankful I have that opportunity to do that work from home and keep my family safe as possible. Their technology allows me to control the edit workstation in the building. And it's pretty neat to see what technology can do. You go back 20 years and you would have never thought something like this would have ever been possible.
No, and I mean it's amazing because I mean even if there's like a snow day, which I mean Canada, you probably get more snow than us, but the idea is, hey, I can still work. I still have the ability to work.
Yeah,
still be able to get paid.
You usually get 1 or 2 weather days every year, and that often results in taking a holiday just to keep yourself safe. Because there was one day last year I tried to go to work and started sliding. If people who live in Toronto, if they know where that Molson factory is on the 427, it's kind of like an S shape in the highway. And I took the second turn, and there was already a truck out, and the OPP was behind him. And I started sliding towards the OPP, and I stopped 30 feet before I hit that car. And I said, never again am I going to, if it's bad weather, I'm just going to take the day off and stay home. So
yeah, it's better to be safe. I coming from a restaurant mindset, I used to work restaurants, and like bad weather, I mean, I don't want my staff to come in. Yeah. I don't want them to have to travel.
Do you run a restaurant?
I used to be a bar manager and restaurant manager for some time. I finally left that and went towards working more in data management for a hospital. So yeah.
I don't know enough about you yet, Chris.
I know you're learning. Well,
I gotta learn about you tonight. This is a show about you. I know it's your show.
Oh no! It's not a show about me. Never.
I love that it's so laid back here. It's going to be.
That's kind of the idea. Yeah. I mean, because you get off work, and my thought is, if you get off work and you're coming home, what do you want to do? You don't want to like have this super. I mean, I don't want to turn on the news. Mm-hmm. I don't want. I mean, to be very honest, I know you work for a broadcasting company, so that might not be good. But still, it's like
no, that's totally fine. I get writers that will call me during the shift, and they'll say, "You know about that story, right?" And I tell them honestly, I just make sure that whatever I edit is good to go to air, and that's about the extent of it, because you can't get caught up in everything is breaking news. I mean, grandma gets her denter stuck in chocolate cake, and you have to isolate it and get it to air as soon as possible. It's changed so much, and the reason why it's that way is because there's so many news agencies out there, and everybody's going to, the 24/7 model. They got to fill the time, and if they don't, they're rerunning, because there's not enough news that we really need to know out there.
Well, I mean, and for me, I feel like, and like you said, there's a lot of rerunning going out throughout the day. It's like, oh, hey, I thought I just watched this on CNN like 15 minutes ago. Oh, it is the same thing I watched 15 minutes ago, except maybe they added one blurb, which is maybe 5 seconds extra that they added to it. Yeah. Oh, I'm still in front of the White House, still here. Okay, back to you. Yeah. So it's like, okay.
All that said, though, I do have to say that, we have a team of about 20 people, 30, maybe 30, when you take the control room and all the writers and the editors. And I got to tell you, it's a very dedicated team. They really genuinely care about giving Canada the best show they possibly can. And
that's good.
That for that, I'm grateful, because if you're working in news and your team's just trying to get through the day, it's
picture that at a hospital. Could you picture that? Be like, I just want to get through the day.
Go pick a needle.
Brain surgery.
Go pick a needle in the bin. We'll use that one.
Oh my gosh, that'd be so messed up. It's like, we're gonna get our COVID shots today, COVID vaccines, but I'm just gonna, I don't know if this one's got any air in it or not. I'm just gonna, right to the vein. You'll be okay. It'll be good.
Yeah. Which
You'll be
needle
good.
do I need, doctor? Get the one with the pinkish blue stuff in it.
Yeah, get that stuff. The stuff that they put in those burgers. All right.
Yeah. There you go.
Craziness. Last time I was up in Toronto, I think I was up there. Played my cello at Casa Loma.
Nice
and then I went up there, saw Phantom of the Opera when it was still in Pantages Theater
with Paul Stanley, or
I don't know who it was that was doing it, but and then we did what else?
And it wasn't Paul Stanley, you would know.
Yeah, I probably don't. So
yeah, okay.
But yeah, no, and then I forget what else. Last time we were there, I think we went and saw Lion King when it was first up there in Canada. So.
Okay, yeah, that's at the Royal Alexander Theater.
Yeah, that was, I think, the first year of production back in 2000. So,
okay,
yeah, that was really cool. That was neat, and then it just kind of picked up and became big. So, yeah,
that's awesome. I've seen the Book of Mormons in the theater.
I need to see that so badly.
I'll tell you, that's a test of inner strength. We brought my wife's mom. She's a diehard Catholic. Okay. And it was quite something for her. It's one of those shows. You know that a story like that is good when you have someone like my wife's mother who's very Catholic and is trying so hard to find a way to, like, she knows she enjoyed it immensely. She's trying to find out how to admit that without feeling guilty about it.
Well, I mean, people find joy in watching horror and suspense films. I mean,
I used to love horror movies.
Yeah.
And I can't now I can't do it anymore. Go ahead.
I can do the ones where it's like, I like Happy Death Day and Happy Death Day 2. Those are two of my favorite suspense style horror films, but it's not to the level of like scaring the crap out of me. I can't watch Exorcist again. I can't watch that because that's spider crawl scene down the stairs.
See, that's the movie I could watch again. What I can't watch is the hack and slash anymore.
Okay, gotcha.
Because I'm at that point in my life now where I think we're much more aware now of what really happens in this world. We hear more stories that just sort of line up with, not Jason or Michael Myers who keep coming back to life, but there are some really dark human beings out there that do terrible things. And social media is one thing that has allowed us to hear about those things more. And so now they correlate too close to home for me. That's what makes it hard for me to, but I used to love, that's all I used to watch, like Dr. Butcher, MD, The Gates of Hell, Boarding House, Hell Night, all of that stuff, Maniac, Bring It On. I used to love that stuff. And now I can't bring myself to, and they're terrible stories to begin with.
You just named all movies I've never seen. So now I'm kind of like, okay, I'm good with that.
So yeah, I mean, Boarding House, Dr. Butcher, MD, and The Gates of Hell, they were made by a company called Paragon Video. At least they distributed it. They were kind of like a Vestron Video. Vestron Video did stuff like Chopping Mall and I can't remember. They also did Dirty Dancing, by the way.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Nobody puts baby in a corner. Gotcha.
After 42 rejections, Vestron Video picked it up amidst all their B horror movies. But Paragon Productions they were the B production company of B horror. I mean, it was just unbelievable how awful these storylines were. But as a kid, I didn't care. I just loved the hack and slash part.
See, I've always enjoyed the Ted Raimi style horror films. I mean, like the Evil Dead 2.
Sam Raimi. Evil Dead.
Sam Raimi, not Ted.
I will watch Evil Dead. That is my one go-to movie because that was by far my favorite horror film. And watching Bruce Campbell evolve, and sort of, watching his career, and that was a good story. The idea behind that story is very, very good. I could watch that over and over again. That's the one.
Oh yeah. I hear one of my kids is rolling their race cars upstairs. I'm like, what's going on? I'm just hearing them in the background. So yeah, it's craziness. But no, so we brought you on to talk about some stuff that's very close to your heart. And I'm gonna let you kind of just take it on, talk through it. What I'm gonna personally do is I'm gonna go to a solo layout so that way anything that you're showing on your camera, you'll still be able to hear me, but I want you to be the forefront. And I want it to just kind of be that. So you'll hear my disembodied head, just kind of, not even my disembodied self, basically. Just kind of
feel free to interrupt anytime too, because
I will.
Those who know me, once I put it in the first gear, it's an interesting segue talking about all that and then going into this. But
I know
I love it, I really want to say thank you for having me on tonight.
Anytime.
It's a little bit bittersweet, but we agreed before going on air that we're gonna keep our nose pointed to more of the celebration of all of this.
Yeah.
I'm happy to go back 3 years and talk to everybody about the Path of Play project and what it is and how it began and why I think it was a really special thing.
So I'm gonna go ahead and switch solo.
Okay.
Folks, you're not going to see my face. I think that's going to boost up viewers as soon as that happens.
Oh, come on now.
No. But all right, I'm going to go solo real quick. Here we go.
Okay. Wow, look at that. All
There
right.
you are.
Hello, everybody. Hopefully you can tolerate what I'm about to do here, but I really love this story because of the fact that so many people during this journey made the decision to become a part of it. Everything that I'm about to tell you, it might seem as though my family is the center point of all of this, but it really is not. I can't stress that enough. My involvement, my son, my wife, the role we play in this is oh so small at this point. It was a starting point. And maybe in the early days, it certainly was a trigger to what began as a journey that I will cherish for the rest of my life. There's no question. So for those who maybe have already heard this story, my apologies, but I'm probably happy to assume that there'll be some people out there that won't know anything about this. And so I'm just going to offer some lineage and a chronological telling of what took place to a point, and then I wanted to make sure that Chris had some time to allow this conversation to go where he would like it to go too. So let's begin. This is my amazing family. I am extremely blessed. My wife Carmela, my son Luke, he's 7 years old right now. And I understand when parents become oh so proud of their kids. It doesn't take much to see wonderful things happen with your child, and the next minute later you think they're going to build rockets. We have spent a lot of time playing whatever it is, whether it be bowling, whether it be pinball, whether it be board games, whether it be something outside, jumping in the leaves. It's all that common stuff that you hope as a father and as a parent. Those are the dreams that many families have, that you can gel and that you can be a good parent and that you can offer them a good upbringing. But sometimes life can take some interesting turns. And in the early part of 2017, our son Luke was diagnosed with autism. And we didn't really know what that entailed. We just, this photo that I'm showing right here actually is at a place called Fantasy Fair. And he looks happy, but I can tell you that 20 minutes before that, he was having incredibly difficult sensory overload, because before we went into the mall, a big jumbo plane flew over the mall and it scared him, and it triggered a moment where he just couldn't handle any noise. And the dinosaur that roars. He loves dinosaurs now. You might remember I said that, but there's roaring dinosaurs that are sort of like mechanical things, and he could hear them about 100 yards away, and it was just scaring the bejesus out of him. And he would not go near this place for probably close to an hour. He didn't want to leave, but he didn't want to go. He didn't know what to do. We didn't get the diagnosis at this point in time yet. We didn't know what was happening to him. He was a boy who would bite his arms and scream at people he didn't know. If we visited my mom and dad, he would have to walk around the house for half an hour before he'd go inside. And we just thought it was nothing more than a quirky thing, until we got to a point where his doctor was starting to see enough evidence that he felt some type of evaluation from a certified doctor who specializes in the world of autism could spend some time with him and try and figure this out. And we did get the diagnosis, and you try to figure out what it is that you can do to help this person because you love them. And now all of a sudden you're asking yourself all of these questions. Are they going to be verbal? Are they going to be able to say I love you? Are they going to be able to connect with their surroundings? Are they going to want to? And you can see by some of these pictures that I'm showing. Here's one of more of a recent one of him. But one thing I noticed about him was that he was still a curious boy, and I wanted to, after having enough conversations with other families, I decided that the best thing I could do for him was to come to his world first, validate who he was. A lot of people tell my wife and I, we would never know he was on the spectrum unless you told us. And all things being equal, in terms of behavioral traits that some autistic kids have, whatever the diversities may or may not be, that could be a fair thing to say. His behavioral traits are more centered around loud noises, being able to look at people when he's speaking to them, having him look at the camera. Luckily, with this photo here, he actually just sang "All You Need Is Love" there at his in this photo at his grandmother's 70th birthday. And so this boy went from this screaming boy, biting his arms, yelling at people that he didn't know, and now all of a sudden he's somehow, we have been blessed, and he has been blessed through the journey of Path of Play. I believe games is the center point of why he has chosen to find the ways that he copes with the things that challenge him the way that he does. And I think games is a big player in all of that. You could tell by just looking at these pictures, he's very much a happy kid. Once I started, coming more to his world, and what I mean by that is if he would walk on his tippy toes, I wouldn't tell him to stop. That can be a behavioral trait of an autistic person because of how it feels under their feet, or tags on their shirt can feel super, super sensitive. So if you imagine going to a mall, and Santa Claus is there, I guess unfortunately not this year, and you hear maybe somebody's playing a guitar, and they're a performer that's been hired, and you hear the announcer, come and get this, check out the sale, and you just hear the general hustle bustle of the ambience in the mall. Something that's very common in autistic people is they can hear all of those sounds at once, and it's like 10 times the volume, and so processing that can become impossible, and it just becomes overbearing, and they don't know how to deal with it. And so I made sure that whatever he did to help him cope with his surroundings, I was going to validate him. And when I saw that he was showing signs of becoming more curious about us, that's when I turned to gaming. You can see he's behind a pinball machine here. Here's him very recently again playing. I think that's Big Treehouse, right? By Green Couch Games. And these games necessarily weren't meant to be serving the purpose of learning the rules and actually going through the mechanisms of the game. It was enough for him to just look at some pictures, put some things together. I think there's a photo coming. There's him behind the pinball machine, but there's him playing My First Carcassonne. I can tell you that he did not completely fully understand the strategy behind Carcassonne, but he loved putting tiles together and doing stuff with the meeples. Was very fortunate that I could find a way to connect with this beautiful boy because I could see his spirit. I could see his curiosity. He was starting to detach from such a level of fright that he wouldn't bite his arms anymore. He wouldn't scream at people. He would say hello. He would ask how they were doing. And when I saw how games was beginning to help him, I decided I wanted to try something. I after having spoken with so many families and all of the challenges that they were facing, I realized that my wife and I weren't dealing with a lot of the things that some of the families were that we were speaking to. For example, one of the families we spoke with, they don't go to a movie theater. They don't go to restaurants. They don't go to amusement parks. They don't go anywhere, quote unquote, fun. And the reason why is because when a lot of autistic kids, when they're in those environments, they need to be able to manage and cope in their own way. And I'm going to show some video later tonight about what that means. But for example, you may have, they've got these big centipede arcade machines now. The screen's, 6 feet tall, and you can, it's like NBA Jam or Street Fighter where you have multiple controllers. We've seen some autistic kids where they need to have control of all of those controllers. Like they need to be able to move from one spot to another. You're not going to be able to go into a public facility without judgment. You're just not. It's sad to say, but that is the reason these families choose not to go. If they're in a quiet restaurant, and a good friend of mine, we were going to go out for dinner one night, and I said, let's go to Canyon Creek. And he said, is it a quiet restaurant? And I said, yeah, it's really nice and quaint. It'd be great for your daughter. He said, can't go. And I asked him why, because of the audio that she produces with her voice has been proven to be off-putting for other patrons in the same space as them. And it just shuts families down. They cannot enjoy the same spaces that we are so fortunate in many cases to be able to enjoy. And it's not always that way, but I've spoken with enough families that I learned, wow, this is really a problem for some families. And so the idea that I had was, could we take the world of gaming and could we give families a space where they know it's for them first? Those living with special needs, those living with autism, other special needs, be it Down syndrome, whatever. I just wanted to create a space for families where they know they could go and they didn't have to worry about being judged. At the same time, I also wanted to have this space be for families who would be receptive to learning about this journey that some of these families are experiencing. And so I went to my wife and I said, listen, I would like to be able to invite a small group of people to our house once a month. We have an arcade machine in here. We have piles of board games. And I wanted to approach a couple of pinball companies to see if they would get behind the idea. And if they did, I said, I think this will really light families up. And thankfully, my wife agreed to it. I'm kind of surprised that she did, but she said, you can't do this, your whole life. You're going to have to see what can become of this. And the idea was just basically to give a truly inclusive play space to families that so direly needed it. And I understood that just from having my toe dipping in these waters. So I reached out to a pinball company, Jersey Jack Pinball and Nitro Pinball. And between those two companies, they sent us 3 $10,000 pinball machines to use for a year in our basement to do this. And so what came out of it was some video that I'm going to hopefully show you here. My drive might have went to sleep here, so this is going to start in a second here. No reason to panic, folks.
It's all good. Don't
There we
worry.
go. There we go. So what you're looking at here is video from the very first family game day that we ever had. It was down in our basement. We invited maybe 8 or 9 families over that day. They were as young as 2 years old. Some played with, Luke's toys. There's Loop and Louie. It wasn't about, our families living with autism, our families not. We weren't categorizing people. We just opened up our door. There was no itinerary. We just let families do whatever they wanted to do. If they wanted to play pinball, we had a water balloon fight at the end of the day. It was an awesome day, and it said everything about what the world of play can do. And we did this in our house for 2 years. Families would come over and they would play these games. If the parents wanted to go up and eat vegetables or hang out, you'd see families talking to each other, and they'd be learning about autism and how families cope and what they can do to help. I love this photo because, you see a group of kids there. You don't know who's autistic or living with special needs. You don't know who isn't. And they're just having a good old time playing a game of Mario Kart on the big screen there, having a good old time. And this is what I wanted to create. And I was very curious to see what something like this could become. This is one of my favorite photos because it says everything about what I wanted as a legacy for Path of Play. Again, nobody is categorized. It's just a true place of inclusion. And we did this for 2 years, and then we extended what we were doing, and we started bringing games to autism therapy centers. We even started dropping off Nintendo Switches, and we were using the game Super Mario Maker and building courses that were so accessible that all you had to do was move Mario left to right. You could, if you look close enough on the screen here, I'm going to back up. There we go. Let me pause that. You can see they're learning how to open up Super Mario Maker 2 and download a level. So we were creating a Path of Play library so that they could make these games accessible for the kids that they were working with at the therapy center. And we would also go to various therapy sites and have board game days. You can see me there, and my really good friend David Diaz, who just came out with Fossilis, the designer of Fossilis. He's actually a board member of Path of Play, along with Murray Richardson. And David and I met at Origins last year. We've developed an amazing friendship, and anything that happens in the Greater Toronto area, you can see him there. He's there with me. He's been people like him. Other friends of mine like Kevin Chow, Joe Cheravino, Michael DeVoe. I'm forgetting her name. I love naming people, but then it's terrible because I'm gonna remember her later on. But there are a group of people here in Toronto. Whenever something happens, they're just there. They just make it a point and put it in their schedule. And so being able to bring games that therapy centers have never heard of, you can see the Haba library there. Haba, sent us some games. Leah there, I think she's still at the helm, has helped me stay connected with the Haba team, and they've sent games on occasions. We bring them to the therapy centers. Well, then Origins heard about what we were doing, and out of the blue, they called me up. And they said, you got to get down here. Marie Poole. Happy belated birthday, Marie. She just had her birthday. She called me up and she said, listen, we hear about what you're doing. We want you to bring your gaming space to our convention. And I said, well, that sounds great. Maybe we can keep talking about it. We'll come up with a plan, and we'll maybe we can do it next year. And she's like, no. We want you at this one. Now, what I mean by this one is she called me in early May. We all know when Origins happens. So we had 8 weeks to put this together. And thankfully, there was a local pinball one up arcade pin bar in Columbus, Ohio. Great pinball facility, great bar, very family friendly. The operator there said, yeah, we'll bring out some machines. So they brought their pinball machines to Origins. Helena Capel from Kids Table Board Gaming and Burnt Island Games, she connected me with Karen Hola and David Diaz. This is where I met David, and we spent 3 days in this room playing pinball and board games with kids. And that little girl in the red shirt there, she never left the room. We had people coming from North Carolina, Arkansas, Canada, places in Canada. There's some tumbling dice there. This little girl right here, her parents said, we can't take her to any public space because it's just too much for her to handle. The sensory issues that she struggles with just completely disallows her from partaking in anything like that. I got my wife here. Do you need me, sweetheart? Nope, she doesn't need me. She's just strolling by, going to the storage room. And so we did this for 3 days. We had board games there. We had pinball. I think that's SOS Dinosaur, if I'm not mistaken.
Looks like a cute game.
Yeah. And there's Karen. You see Karen and David. We had our Path of Play shirts. We wore them, with pride. We had some game giveaways. It was Origins, Gamma and John Stacy. They really rolled out the red carpet for us. And that little girl right there, Ainsley was her name. And she played pinball. I got some video of her, some great audio and video of her playing pinball. If you want to see it later, you can ask me. But she called multi-ball. There's a part of pinball it's called multi-ball where you have more than one ball at the same time. Mm-hmm. And I have a video of this young girl too. That was the same girl there that her father said, who works in the Air Force, said, we can't bring her anywhere. And so we got everybody out of the room. You can see it's really quiet there right now. We put her behind a pinball machine and she just lit up, Chris. And so time and time again, a lot of people would say like, well, how can a pinball machine not put the sensory challenges into play? And I think what it is the flippers. It's like one of the behavioral traits you see with some autistic kids, they like to snap their fingers. It just allows them to, what's the word I'm looking for? I forget the term now, but it allows them to sort of control their emotions, stimming.
Yeah,
it's a form of stimming for them, and they can focus on that ball, and they love controlling the flippers the same way that sometimes they snap their fingers or that they spin something, and they're just totally in their own zone. Robert Gagnon, he's autistic. He's in his 30s now. He became the world pinball champion back in 2016. I would highly recommend watching a documentary called Wizard Mode. Even though he's a pinball player and there's a lot of pinball in there, it's really about his desire to become independent. And it's a wonderful, wonderful story. Kathy and Maurizio, they're great friends of mine, wonderful family out in British Columbia. And so, we ended up at Gamma. There's Ainsley there and had a great time. Well, then a pinball distribution center in Toronto called Player One Amusements heard about us. There's Jerry Power. And he said, look, we've got a whole warehouse of stuff. Everything that you see in the movie theaters, all those arcade machines, we put that stuff in there. That is us. He's got a whole warehouse here. Not really Dave and Buster's, right? Palladium, all that stuff. They put all of it in there. He said, why don't you come out a couple times a year and have some game days out there? So now we're starting to move this out of my house, right? And it's growing, and now we're getting upwards of 50 people coming to these things. That's the other thing I wanted to say too. In that photo there are Luke's therapists. He did ABA therapy for about a year and a change, and his therapists offered to help us at our house every time we had an event just to make sure everything went smoothly. They donated their time to come out and help, and they came out to this event to see how big it had really become. And you can see the arcade machines there. There's the Centipede. You can see Luke there. It's just awesome. Bubble hockey. This place is just full. They put everything on free play, and they're getting pictures, right? So twice a year we would have 3 events here in a day, and you'd see 50 to 60 people coming to every one. Our volunteers were coming. Again, you don't know who's living with special needs or not living with special needs in these photos. And this is the thing that I wanted to see come out of this more than anything. Believe it or not, I'm not done, because then Microsoft heard about it. And this thing just kept snowballing. And all of a sudden they said, why don't you come and have some events at the Microsoft store? So before I knew it, we had 7 events scheduled at the Microsoft store in Yorkdale Mall in Toronto. They put stuff on the big screen. They had Minecraft education. There's little Marshall there, and my he's a good buddy of mine. He's been to my house before. There's Luke. They're doing some Minecraft there. Player One Amusements, who we just talked about, they even brought a pinball machine there. They said, let's band arms here and let's show the world that the corporate world is starting to work together. So they brought their Spider-Man pinball there. There's little Marshall getting behind there again. They're playing Overcooked on the big screen there. And so they had said to me, well, we would love to introduce you to other stores around North America. And a little over a year ago was when we were really looking at taking these family gaming events and seeing if we could start to get them outside of Toronto. That became a really important thing to us. And again, there's the photo that we took. And then finally this year, we managed to get a board game partner. 401 Games in Toronto, good friend of mine, Kyle. Dylan. You can see Dylan and Jeff. There's me in the middle. Dylan's on the left. Jeff is on the right. And they said, you know what? Let's start having some board game events. And we had our first one in March. Look at this beautiful place.
Wow.
It is an awesome, awesome store. It is
amazing.
Them and Board Game Bliss, Bosco Lee, who runs Board Game Bliss. He's also a really good friend of mine. I was at Bosco's house when he was running this in his basement to start, and now he's got his own shop too. He's got a great space too. But 401 really, really rolled out the red carpet for us, and we managed to have one event before COVID took place. It was a smaller event, as you can see from the photo here. But again, Kevin Chow's in that photo. Faye Weir's in that photo on the right hand side there. A couple new volunteers. You can see David in there as well. And then COVID happened, and we unfortunately couldn't continue what we were doing. But this year we had 32 family gaming events planned, and all of it canceled out because of COVID. So that part of it, COVID played a really big role in this. Now there's one more part to all of this project, and that was a mandate we called the Playroom Experiment, and that's where we started developing this relationship with this school a year ago. So I'm gonna stop there and take a breather. I hope everybody's okay.
No, I'm still alive.
I want to stop and ask you, at this point, I know we're going to get to the school and how it began, and you'll ask me to continue on with the storytelling, but any questions that anybody might have or that you have, I'm just going to stop and listen at that point.
I mean, the thing that excited me is just the fact that something small started in your house with the wife's approval, of course, which is wise. And it just became something amazing. And I love the fact that I think a lot of parents need to hear that have kids with special needs. That feeling of how do you get on their level? How do you get to understand them better rather than trying to make them understand you?
And here's the thing with autism is that it's so dynamic, Chris, that there's no A plus B equals C model.
No.
It's like you're in a helicopter and below you is a massive target that's maybe 10 miles wide, and you're throwing a ball out. And that target is the autism spectrum, and there's no rhyme or reason where that wind is going to take the ball, when you throw it, where that ball lands. I don't know why my son is low support. I don't know why my very good friend Murray's daughter is nonverbal, has numerous struggles, and my heart goes out to him. It's sometimes I get a level of guilt, feeling joy about some of the milestones that Luke is still able to reach. And meanwhile, I'm watching an amazing person, one of my best friends. We've known each other since kindergarten. I mean, we lived in the same neighborhood, and we would have never guessed that decades later, autism that would I mean, we always stayed connected, but autism has grounded us closer more than ever. And I tell him, like, I just wish so badly I could snap my fingers for him. And he faces the reality. He's someone who really, he told me one thing before. He said, Mike, he said, a lot of people, there's sometimes when you have a life journey and it presents challenges and that question comes up, would you change anything? And a lot of people often say, no, I wouldn't, because it made me stronger. He said, Mike, I'll tell you right now, I would change it in a heartbeat. My heart breaks that there are so many limitations for their sweet little girl. And, so many of his friends, including our family, we love them so much, and we so badly want to help in any way we can. And all we can really do is just be there and listen. And, because, and I think the best thing that I've been able to figure out to do for that family is just make sure that you don't forget that there's still a person inside there. There's still a heart. There's still feelings. She just has her own way to communicate, and when I see her, it's enough for her to just sit on my lap and I'll just hug her for a half an hour. She'll just stay there. And if that's enough for her, or I'll roll a ball with her back and forth and she just gets so much joy, or if she needs a piggyback ride and I go running a little bit and she laughs, that's what she needs to bring her unbelievable joy. I want to say this actually right now, because you brought up a good question, and I know you've only asked me one question.
You're good. No,
this is.
I had you come on because I want this to be. It's not called Talking with Chris.
I know, but the host does get to talk once in a while. Bill Maher would have. But here's the thing. I'm going to show you some video. Okay, this is at Player One. Okay, and these kids. This is why what we were doing is so important, because these families and these children know that this space is theirs. They know it's for them first, and we're there for them. They're guiding us on how they want their day to go. There's so much joy on their faces when they go to public spaces. There's me and my son Luke playing. We're playing with a buddy beside us, playing the centipede machine. I mean, they don't get to control their surroundings. They can't connect with their surroundings because it's just so overwhelming. There's one of our Joe Cheravino. He's amazing. He's one of my best friends. He's at everything that we do. He's there having a great time with these kids, letting them know they mean something to us, that this is their day. And they need days like this, because there are kids, that young people, adults, that just have traits that they need to be able to, you can't stunt those. They need to be able to manage their environment the way that they need to, so that they can embrace their surroundings. And when you do that, the level of joy that they feel, they can feel it now, just like we can. That incredible opportunities that we have, these families just don't have that right now. And I know coming up very soon here, there's going to be some video. In fact, I'm just going to kind of scrub through and go and find it. This young boy coming up right here, his name is Tom. And when Tom goes somewhere in public, his mom, she's got two boys on the spectrum. There's Tom there. That's a social worker. Tom can be a flight risk. It's not about the games that matter to him. He just needs to jump around and sing to feel happy and comfortable. And the social worker is there to be there as a support system. You can't, this young boy here, I talked earlier about needing to have access to all of the lanes or all of the controllers. This is a young boy, this is her other son, Sam, who needs to be able to roll the balls on all the lanes. When if she were to try and go and do that in public, there would be judgment that comes with it. Not necessarily that people are bad. They just don't understand. There's the knee-jerk reaction, and there isn't that understanding. And that's why these play spaces are so important. This little boy here hardly wants to play, just loves the lights. When he's ready, he'll grab a ball. He's thinking about it. He'll grab it when he's ready. This is what people don't see. And this is very possible no fault of their own. What people don't understand and why these play spaces are so important. Why, if Gamma is going to be hosting Origins, whenever that happens again, there needs to be a room for these families so that they know they're welcome and they know they have a place to go. Far too many times they don't. And that's why this school, this chapter with this school was so important too, because that was the thing we were about to bring on a daily basis. So I now that you mentioned, that question, the question that you asked, that was a perfect time to show that video.
Yeah, no, it's one of those things. I mean, and like you said, like going out with your kids and they're on the spectrum, it's not easy. It's not easy to make those decisions, and you want to shelter and protect your child because people don't know. I mean, outward they see a kid, they just see a kid.
Yes,
they don't see what's going on inward.
That's right.
And it's that understanding that you can't have a kid wearing a shirt the whole time saying I'm on the spectrum. I mean, it's not like that. The child needs
the blue pumpkin thing, right? That whole thing, split. It split a community's opinion of whether it was a good or bad thing.
Yeah.
And there is no right or wrong answer. People are just trying to get through their day.
Yeah.
It's, I see these arguments online about it should be called low support. It shouldn't be high functioning. It shouldn't be. And there's no right or wrong answer. I just want to make sure that people feel validated in who they are as a person and they don't feel judged. There are families that care less about that stuff than others. There are autistic adults that very likely care more about that stuff and their identity, and I understand that part of it. But there are also families that just want to know they're being treated with respect and feeling accepted. Yeah. And they don't care about the terms. I certainly don't care about the terms. If you want to call my son low support or high functioning, I don't care. I don't think he cares. We just want to have happy days. We just want to give him the best life he can. If he becomes an adult and he starts to better understand, because we haven't talked to him about this yet, but we're thinking maybe in about a year that conversation will happen. From that point, as he gets older, then he gets to decide what matters to him. If it's how people refer to him, so be it. At the end of the day, when someone is asking for support or not asking for support or to be referred to as a certain way, we really it's very, very important we respect that. And you do that, you validate people and you create harmony. And that, if I'm proud of anything, that's what these game days were doing.
I mean, it's a beautiful thing what you were doing. And I mean, I know it's got to be hard right now because you're not able to do these things. You're not able to have these game nights or go out to Microsoft Store or go out to the arcade and be able to do this for these kids. And I'm betting that these kids are feeling it too.
I think about these families a lot, and there's not much I can do for them. And to be honest, even when we did have Right to Roam, it's very difficult to get these events going in a successful direction, because you have to work with organizations that have large social media followings. I mean, nobody knows who we are. Autism Ontario only a year ago started posting our events, and that's when we really began to see a higher attendance. At the beginning, it was just reaching out to the families that we knew and said, hey, listen, will you give this a try? Come on. And nobody wants to force families to come out and play games, right? You want this to become something that when a family hears about it, they're going to make a point to put it on their calendar so that they know they can make it. It really takes time when it comes to the world of autism. I'll give you a great example. One of the things we wanted to do for one family was buy them a $400 app that allowed their child to communicate by pressing buttons, and they could communicate through the iPad. And they actually rejected our offer because they were afraid that somehow that generosity was going to be publicized. And, look, charities, they rely on the endorsements of the people they're trying to help. But we had to really navigate these waters carefully. I would say 95% of the families wanted they didn't want people to know that we helped them. There's a lot of families feeling an unnecessary and unwanted shame about this. They know that not enough people understand what the world of autism really is, because it's not all a dark place.
No.
Right? There are diversity. Sometimes it can be, but there are also diversities that they offer journeys to families that, I happen to be, and I just count my blessings. I wouldn't change a thing. I would not change a thing. This little boy, he became this boy. He's happy. He's curious. He's kind. He's playing Time Pilot, good old arcade classic there. But when you see him now, he takes pictures. I mean, yeah, he's not looking at the camera all the time. I don't care. I'm not going to make him do that. But you can tell by looking at him that he's a happy, curious, kind boy. He cares about people. Just the other day, I never thought I would get to take a photo like this one. I never thought I'd see the day where we would get to go to Disney World and take that photo, because at the beginning, he was the boy again that was, believe it or not, he was biting his arms and he was screaming at people he didn't know. And the gaming community changed his life. They accepted him. There he is at my nephew's wedding.
Oh, he looks that. I love that.
He's unbelievable. Just the other day, he and there he is right there with an Achievement Award of Hope. He got an Achievement Award of Hope, and he said to me the other day, he's like, Daddy, he has his elf on the shelf. His name's Eldred, and he puts, like, we do the Advent thing, so the 24 mittens, and we put a little piece of candy. Well, one day he got a $5 bill last week, and out of the blue, he said, Daddy, he said, I want to give my money to Goodwill. And I said, really? I said, what makes you want to do that? He said, well, because in Home Alone 2, Kevin McAllister gave his money to Mr. Duncan, and so I want to do that too. This is, when we buy him candy, he's always sharing. He never puts himself first. I'm just so proud of this little boy, and I believe wholeheartedly, you have to be the best parent you can, but there's lots of amazing parents out there, and they've done nothing wrong. And that's why, like, it's not about what my wife and I are doing. Love that's just a core foundation, no matter who your child is. I'm just so thankful and blessed that somehow this little boy has, he's developed a spirit that he sets a bar. He is everything that people should be. I'm so proud of him. I don't make him do it. I don't know where it comes from, but that's what he does. He'll probably come down and say hi if you want to say hi to him, but he'd come down.
If he comes down, by all means.
We'll do it at the end of the night.
Sounds good.
Or before he goes to bed. Yeah.
Sounds good.
What time is it right now? Actually, he might be going to bed soon.
8:03
Yeah.
p.m. Eastern.
Hold on 1 second here.
Yeah, go ahead.
I love my Go XLR.
Me, it's a Yeti Nano thing, whatever it is, so I can just quickly touch the little green button and turn it red.
Okay,
So.
Come here, buddy. Okay, everybody. Here's Lukey. Here, I'm going to give you the headphones. You're going to say hi to the host, Chris, okay?
Okay.
I'm having a conversation with some people, and they wanted to meet you and say hello. Say hi to Chris.
Hi, Chris.
Hey, Luke, how are you?
I'm doing good.
Good. You play any fun video games lately?
Yep.
What's your favorite video game?
Minecraft or Minecraft Dungeons.
Minecraft Dungeons? I hear that's a fun game. What do you like to use the sword, or are you like a wizard? What do you like?
So you're like a character and you get like new weapons as you go.
Okay. Any what's your favorite weapon?
Right now, mine is probably. I have a cool weapon, but I don't know what it's called. It's Hawk something.
Hawk something?
Yeah.
What does it do?
So it's like a sword, but except it's longer and sharper, and
Mhm.
you could like stab it.
Can you beat up a lot of bad guys with it?
Yeah,
Very
but you
cool.
can't beat it up. But you can't do it. But you can't beat it up with one shot with a boss.
No. What are the bosses like? I've never played this game.
Like a redstone golem, a cultrum,
Mhm. Mhm.
a code run.
Do you have to fight any zombies or anything or
Yeah,
creepers?
there's creepers and zombies and skeletons and spiders. Easy.
Very cool. Very cool.
I think
What
you can kill them in one shot with the hawk something.
really? You can kill them in one shot? That's pretty
Yeah,
cool.
same with the sword. You could, but
Really?
not with your hands.
Okay. Are there any like big spiders or I forget all the other characters that are in Minecraft? My boys play it.
Vindicator,
Uh-huh.
evoker,
Okay.
pillager,
Mm-hmm.
iron golem.
Okay. Do you are now I remember in Minecraft, not in dungeons. I remember you can make like the Minecraft golems to protect the villagers. Can you do that in this one?
No, but you can spawn them. You can spawn them.
You can. Do they protect you at all, or?
If you damage, they do. But in the regular Minecraft, like if you like smack them or something,
Mhm.
you they damage you.
Oh, that's not good.
Survival mode, right?
Yeah, survival mode. You're allowed to kill them in creative.
Yeah, I don't usually do many survival modes. I think my kids wouldn't play with me if I did too much survival mode. I think most of the time we play creative mode, which is a lot of fun. So
Yeah, like in oh, sorry.
no, you're good. You talk as much as you want. No,
So like in creative, I was gonna say like you have lots of stuff. That's all.
hmm what do you like to build in creative mode? I like to build like a small house with a secret passageway down below, and that way I can like have like a little bed there, and I put like a little furnace where I can cook food, and I kind of have that auto dispensing, and then a big fireplace where it smokes out of the house. So if I go far away, I can see it kind of from a distance. What about you? What do you like to build?
I like to build like houses with non secrets, and I like to build like secret bases.
Very cool. Do you ever do secret stairways where the stairways open up and make like an additional room behind them?
No, I never done that.
Oh,
But I
that's
do
something.
know, but I do know how to make it. You just need like sticky pistons and all that stuff.
Hmm.
You could do it with like any block, right?
Oh yeah. Well, I think you definitely need redstone, right? Redstone helps connect the circuits, so that way it pulls the things apart and stuff.
Yeah, there's like a ton of things like levers, buttons, pressure plates,
Mhm.
redstone blocks,
Yeah, that's very cool. No,
redstone repeaters, redstone computer, tons of stuff.
Don't you
that's
know?
awesome. That is awesome. What has been your what is your favorite thing you like to do with your dad?
I like to play Minecraft Dungeons.
Like playing that with him?
Yeah,
Who gets beat up the most in Minecraft Dungeons? You or your dad?
I have no idea.
That's okay. That's okay. And you're playing Overwatch right now, right?
I used to, but not as much.
Not as much.
No,
More Minecraft Dungeons though.
more Minecraft and Minecraft Dungeons.
Gotcha. Very cool.
Mhm.
I'll have to look at that game because that would be something fun for me and my boys to play.
Okay.
So I'll have to look at that. But so you're getting ready for bed?
No, we're gonna wrap gifts. We're
You're
gonna
gonna go
wrap
wrap-
gifts.
Really nice.
Yeah, for Christmas.
Very cool. Are you excited about Christmas?
Yeah.
Very cool.
It's not
Very-
about gifts, it's about baby Jesus.
Oh, I like that. I like that a lot. That's very cool. And I heard that you have a amazing heart for other people. So I love you for that. You know, that's really cool.
Yeah.
It's very cool. Yeah. But well, I want to say thank you for coming on. I
Oh,
want to
you're
say,
welcome.
and we next time we need just to have a show with just you, me, and your dad, where we just talk all the time about games.
Yeah, I think so. And we play games.
Oh, that'd be fun. What's your favorite board game that you like playing right now?
Probably King Domino.
King
Yeah.
Domino?
Yeah.
Very cool. Very cool. I like King Domino. I always end up with extra spaces open though. I never get a full square. Do you ever have that happen?
Yeah, I get that all the time.
Yeah. Very cool. What's the piece that you try to go for? I usually go for the water or the forest. Those are the two I go for the most.
I would go for the ones with 3 or 2 stars the most.
Okay, gotcha. Yeah, that makes a lot of sense because they get you more points, right?
Yeah.
Very cool. Very cool. I am loving talking to you. I want to talk more games. But you're gonna go wrap some presents and everything. Are you wrapping any secret ones for your dad right now?
No.
Okay. Okay.
No, we're only doing it for like the kids.
Mhm. Gotcha. Gotcha. What did you ask for Christmas? Anything?
I asked for Lego and Pokemon card sets and Mega Constructs.
What's a mega constructs? I don't know what that is.
It's not like completely Lego, but they have bad pieces sometimes.
Gotcha.
Yeah, like they're very hard to put on.
Gotcha. What Legos are you what Legos did you ask for Christmas?
Minecraft Dungeons, one
Uh-huh.
Minecraft Dungeons, and
Mhm.
and just like regular Minecraft then.
Very cool. Very cool.
And then Pokemon stuff, and then back to Minecraft.
Oh,
What was the name of the big dinosaur too that you asked for?
Huh?
In Jurassic Park, what's the name of the big dinosaur called?
Brachiosaurus.
Brachiosaurus. That's the one.
Brachiosaurus. Okay. Is that the one with a big long neck?
Yeah.
Okay, big long neck, wide style body with a long tail at the back, walks
Yep.
on all fours. Okay.
Yep.
Okay.
That's
Very
the one.
cool. Nice. Nice. I like the Tyrannosaurus Rex, but I heard you know the real name to the T-Rex. What's its real name?
Tyrannosaurus Rex.
Okay. What's your all-time favorite dinosaur?
It's either Triceratops or a T-Rex.
Okay. Yeah, I'm a T-Rex person. I like, you remember Jurassic Park where the dinosaur comes through, it's like roar at the very end. You know
Yeah.
how it kind of saves the day and it stops all the velociraptors from hurting those people. That's my favorite scene in the movie. The other scene that makes me laugh or kind of was one of my favorite scenes is where the guy decides of all the places he's going to hide in the bathroom. And then
Oh
the
yeah, that
dinosaur,
was funny.
yeah, it was funny. I agree.
Yeah, it looked like he was going pee or poo.
Very true. Very true. Oh, I have a question. Somebody's asking a question for you, Luke.
Okay.
Somebody's asking, do you like Ninjago? That's
I watch it. Yeah, I watch it.
Okay. I was wondering.
Sometimes.
Yeah, I haven't I watched the movie. I thought that was cute. The show I've never seen really the show. I've never really seen that. I like Lego Batman, I think, a little bit more.
Okay.
So,
Okay,
yeah.
you could say half and half.
Half and half?
Yeah.
Okay. Half and half then Lego and Lego Ninjago. I don't know, but I'm like what was your favorite Lego movie you think?
Lego Jurassic World.
Lego Jurassic. I haven't seen that. Is that on That's on what I think Amazon. So I'm
Netflix.
gonna Netflix. Okay, I'll
Yeah,
have to
like
I'll have to subscribe to Netflix and watch it then. So that sounds pretty cool. Yeah.
yeah, it's just like it, but except it's just Lego.
Mm-hmm. So it's similar to the movie, but it's only Legos. Is that what it is?
Yes.
Oh, nice. Very cool. I'm gonna keep a secret. I got an ornament for my son, for my youngest, and it's a Lego Velociraptor. So
Ooh.
yeah,
I
he's
won't
gonna.
tell. I won't tell that.
Okay, thank you. Yeah, don't tell him. Don't tell him. I'm gonna have him open it up for Christmas or for Christmas Eve, and then what we do is we open up our Christmas ornaments the day before Christmas. So something fun.
Okay.
Yeah, very cool. Well, Luke, I want to say thank you for coming on. I'm gonna let you get back to wrapping presents,
Okay.
and then what we'll do is we'll play some games sometime. Maybe your dad, maybe me and you, and we can maybe play something. Maybe one day I can get Minecraft Dungeons, and maybe we'll play on the Switch or something together.
Okay. We play on the laptop.
You
Yeah.
play on the laptop?
I think they have cross-platform.
Oh, cool. Well, if you have cross-platform, then I am all
Okay.
up for playing. All right.
Okay. Yep. I'll get you back to my dad. Okay.
All right. You have an awesome night.
Okay. You too. Bye.
Thanks. Bye.
You're welcome. Bye.
Okay, buddy. Did you enjoy that?
Yeah.
All right. See ya.
See ya.
That's awesome.
You don't need me anymore.
Oh, that was good. Yeah, no, that was great. That's just
Yeah.
so now we got to play some games. I mean, that's kind of that just kind of solidified that.
This kid, I mean, that conversation tells you everything you need to know about what games have done for him. And so you see that and you think, man, how many young people, how many families, like we talk about the power of gaming and that aura around the table when we're all sitting together. That he's an example of it when you use this as a way to really truly help families connect and open up doors that they know nothing about. But it takes these special outside of the box things that, look, I'm not the only one. You got the We Charity. They've got kids coming up with thousands of tremendously wonderful ideas. And some of these things are just basic foundational things that getting clean water to the rest of the world. I mean, that is more important than anything. I mean, this is why you really have to be careful, like how important you say this is, because there's always something else, right? That, so I'm very proud of what this project accomplished. And it couldn't be done without an amazing community. It really could.
I mean, yeah, I mean, just the amazing things that you've done with the community, just making an impact on what. I mean, that was beautiful just there.
Yeah.
That was, I mean, that's going to be the highlight for my night. Plain and simple.
He has this, I don't know what it is about him, but he has a way of just having I don't know how to explain it. He can give a person, whether it be a conversation or some kind of exchange, and mind you, don't get me wrong. It's not that he doesn't get upset, or if his cousin has a toy and he doesn't have a toy and he wants a toy, or they saw a bird and he didn't see it. He struggles with those emotions. But what makes me proud of him is that at some point he'll find a way to bring himself back. And I'm glad he came down and talked with you, Chris, because sometimes you can just tell when someone has a certain kind of grounding, and there's something about that boy that he's teaching me about how I can be a better person. I'm very strong-minded. He doesn't have that. And he has actually helped me in the last year or so try to not internalize and, realize that there's more important things happening than yourself.
Mm-hmm.
It's just like the Christmas gift comment, right? Like, I mean, you can't script that.
No,
You just can't.
That's his heart. And I mean,
Yeah.
that's a beautiful thing. And I mean, that's a perfect example of where we need to be, especially around the holidays, that it's not about the gifts. It's about the gift that we were given.
Yeah.
It's a beautiful, beautiful, beautiful thing.
No, I'm glad I got a chance to have him come on and be on your show. I mean, and I mean, look, you, it takes special people to see past charity work. Like, you have to, I always think of that scene from Patch Adams, where there was a doctor in the facility that Patch Adams submitted himself to. And he was asking everybody, how many fingers am I holding up? And everybody would say 4. And he's like, no, that's a dumb answer. That's a dumb answer. And so Patch Adams went to the professor's room and he said, Arthur, what's the answer to the problem? And he said, you're looking at the problem. You're not looking past it. So he says, how many fingers am I holding up? And Arthur's face is behind the fingers, and the movie shows that when you look past it, these turn into 8 fingers. He says, oh, there's 8. And he says, yes, 8's a good answer. And that's the magic of charity. You have to be a scientist. That's the number one challenge of doing charity work. You have to be willing to treat, at least in the early days, you have to treat your charity like it's a laboratory. You have to be willing to take risks with the team that you're blessed with. And as a family, you're going to go out there and try things that maybe don't always work. But you have to find the thing that allows you to serve the best purpose possible. Because without that, you can't build culture. And it's a tremendous risk because, imagine, Eric Lang putting out, any game designer for that matter, Sen, Jay, name anybody. They're never, ever, ever going to put their first draft of a design out into the wild. But a charity, you have to do that. It doesn't have the fortune of sitting behind 4 walls and maybe bringing a few people in, because remember, we were raising money, right? These events, going to Origins, and we went to Calgary one time. Even we were trying to build some relationships out there and seeing what we could build beyond our home base. And we wouldn't have done it any other way, and we wouldn't have discovered the opportunities that we did had we not done that. And somebody like yourself, who cares so much about trying to lift all these different charities up, people like you are very, very important, because it goes past the, okay, we're raising money for this, we're having a bake sale, it's how to pay attention. And I hope that above all else, that the work that you're doing encourages your community to really think about how they can get involved, especially in charity work in their own community. It's so much more than throwing $5 at something. Heart and Stroke, I would love for them to find cures. They need the money. But it breaks my heart that they have to dangle $2 million homes over people to buy tickets. That's the part that bothers me. Our model had been, our long-term goal was to have 1,000 monthly donors at $2. If we had 1,000 monthly donors at $2, we'd raise $24,000 a year. And we could take this program and have it in 500 schools in 10 years. So it doesn't take a lot of money. It more than anything else, it takes a lot of love and commitment. And it especially takes the community seeing beyond the name of the charity, the amount of money that they're asking to be donated. Now with everything that's been going on, And again, we've been sort of chatting in the window, but Path of Play has actually, we've closed our doors. We've closed our doors, and it's unfortunate, but it doesn't, you decide if you want me to get into that story or not, because I know you got games going on later on, and I know that we've talked about so much already, but Path of Play aside, now's a really good time for your community to collectively think about how they can go outside the box and work a kind of magic that they approach it the same way you approach this. You take the time to really get to know the story. What's the story behind a charity? There's so much social media out there that there's a lot of really good people doing good things, good charity work, and it's being missed. That's my greatest fear, is that because everybody needs help right now. That's the problem, right? There's so much saturation of everything. There's just too much of everything. But unfortunately, Path of Play met its demise, all because a school that we partnered with wouldn't write a letter and share our vision. It completely crippled us, because we were getting donations, we were working up these programs, we developed a great relationship with the school, we put a $1,200 gaming library in there, and all we needed them to do was write. Okay. I mean, do you want me to tell this story or not? I'm sorry, man.
No, you're good.
I'm good. Okay.
Yeah. Go ahead.
Okay. All right. Okay. Because I think it's important people know how quickly something wonderful can be lost. And even though saying that is a sad thing to say, it doesn't change how I feel about what we've accomplished. And what I hope telling this story will do is, with all of the saturation that we have on social media, I really hope that our gaming community, you look at the Board Game Wishes group, you know about this group. Mm-hmm. Look at what they're doing. They have over 1,000 people in that group now, I think. And people are taking care of each other. We don't do that enough. And we need to do more of it. And now more than ever. And if we can find something in our gaming community to help kids connect and give them a chance to have a better life and maybe not face some of the challenges of acceptance and bullying and all this stuff, if we can find a way to do that through games, it's planting a kind of seed that's never been planted before. So I'll try and get through this as quickly as I possibly can. I want to show you something, okay? This is a school climate survey near the town I grew up in, okay? This survey is what got me thinking, what is our next chapter? This was about a year ago, around the beginning of November. And the statistic that scares me, I'm going to go full screen here on my... bear with me here for a second. I just want to...
I've got you blown up on mine as well.
Yeah, I need to be able to read it on my own too. I'm just putting my output on my main monitor, okay? But, there's a lot of information here, right? Like if we... there's not a lot of kids that respond to the survey, but I think enough. You look at the left side there, 94% of these kids, these are grade 4 to 6 kids, they're happy with life. 82% know how to report bullying. 79% feel they have one caring adult at a school they can trust. 81% feel their school is welcoming. The part that concerns me is in the bottom right corner. 60% would ask for help if they're struggling with a mental or emotional distress at school. It's one thing to say, yeah, I'm happy, I've got all these friends, yeah, it's cool, I'm all right. I mean, that's just saying the things that you need to say. The thing that concerns me is what happens when life gets rough. What are you going to do? Are you going to talk to somebody? Are you going to reach out to someone? And all of a sudden that number drops 20%. Then these kids start to get a little older. Now they're in grade 7 and 8. Look at that number in the bottom right hand corner. Now it drops to 38%. And they get a little older, and it drops again, and it drops to a third. So you got these kids saying, yeah, and if you look at the happy with life as they get older, now it's gone from 68%. We need to change this, because it doesn't matter who we get to agree with us on social media about whether Trump is a good president or whether COVID should be dealt with differently or whether you should be Republican or Democrat. None of that stuff matters if we're not planting seeds with younger generations. That evidence there tells me we are not planting seeds with the younger generation. What is it that we're doing wrong? There's only so much we're going to change with people that are set in their ways. But what kind of world can we create if we're patient and we're planting seeds and we're nurturing kids in a way? I'm sorry, when we're talking about acceptance and understanding, you can paint all the trees you want on your wall and get the kids to dip their hand in paint and press it on the tree. It's not going to do anything. It looks nice in your school. But if you want to see me start to get a little bit more adamant about something, this is it. I am really concerned knowing that kids don't feel they have someone they can turn to if they, because as adults, how many people do you know, Chris, that have said gaming saved my life? Gaming changed my life, and or at least gaming changed or impacted me in the most positive way I never would have expected. It's so much more than just monopoly. I mean, whatever they say, we all have a story about how gaming has been such an important cornerstone. And beyond that game, there's that aura. Will Wheaton talked about that aura at a table that just inexplicably happens when people have these gaming experiences together, because now there's a common ground. The main driving force between any two human beings is them thinking they don't have anything in common. So a year ago, I had a friend of mine in my hometown. She's a teacher there, and she knows about Path of Play. And I just casually said to her, you know, I've never really wanted to do this because I think there's going to be a pile of red tape, but I would love to see a daily program in a school during school hours run by students. I would love to be able to put a gaming library in a school where that happens. And in 3 hours, she had me booked to come and talk about the Path of Play story at her school. She had about 100 or so grade 7s and 8s. Here's a picture of it. That's a picture of me talking to these kids. And she, in 3 weeks' time, I was coming down there to talk to those kids, and she said, maybe if you talk to them, you know, we can find a way to start this program. And I said, well, you know what? We've been raising money, and we've been putting money away, and we've really managed our funds well as a charity. I have to say, our earmarking for investment has been very minimal. And I said, why don't we put a library in there? So I brought them a $1,200 gaming library. There's some of the games. We ordered them. I said, I'm going to show up, and then you could see them. They're covered up. They have no idea those games are there. And when I came down there, it included a Nintendo Switch. And what we wanted to do was create a program where they would allow the kids to play. They have 2 40-minute breaks. So we wanted to create a space where these kids could play these games and say, you know, whether it's code names or blank slate or something like Pandemic, and they want to, you know, save the game state, you know, put the box away somewhere or whatever. But it was during the day. And what we wanted to do was build an ambassador team of students that would help us facilitate this. So what would they do with the Nintendo Switch, for example? Well, they would help us build Mario Maker 2 courses. And that grade 7 kid might connect with a grade 3 student who's on the autism spectrum, building, you know, just playing these simple little levels. And all of a sudden, this grade 3 student's eyes have been opened up. They've been given the same validation that my son got. And now these kids that struggle to connect, whether it's special needs, whether it's just social isolation, well, all of a sudden, Path of Play now had an opportunity to go outside of special needs. And being able to share that is why I really am glad we're still sticking with this and telling this story. So what ended up happening was 30 kids, these kids that you see here, 30 of them signed up to be ambassadors. I'll help you be a librarian. I'll help you learn games. I'll help you do whatever. So we had to come up with content to provide like an orientation for these kids. We needed to have, we can't give them as much as I love Watch It Played and Dice Tower and Rahdo. Those are not the links we can give these kids. We wanted it to have its own path of play branding. So what I started doing was my own tutorials. You can see on the screen right here. I'm sitting here and I'm teaching the game Mysterious Forest, and we're using our own setup. I'm in the same room that we're talking in right now, actually. And that's what we started doing. We started building that tutorial content where they could take all those videos for all those games, and beyond that, not just teaching the game, but also when there's challenges in rules retention, if we are dealing with kids with special needs, how can we simplify that game so that they can still experience some kind of activity at least? So every one of those videos, we were building this library, and it was going to have those, not just the game rule set and the explanation with me in it, but we were also going to have these appendixes where they could, for example, in Mysterious Forest, I think it's an 8-card journey. Maybe you just want it to be a 3-card journey. Maybe you just roll the dice until you get the backpack items that you need, because there's challenges to remember things. Like, we just wanted to make sure that there were other ways for young people to experience the activity, and those students were going to help facilitate that every single day in their school. Beyond that, this school decided that they wanted to pay it forward. So they wanted to become an annual fundraising partner. All of this stuff started just going amazingly well. Like, we just thought we were off to the races. And so we were going to launch this program where we wanted to seek out 1,000 monthly donors at $2 a month. And it was going to raise $24,000 a year. It would allow us to help grow their library. It would allow us to start up 10 new programs in schools every year. But we needed these pillars to line up, right? We needed the idea. We knew we had the idea. We knew we had the people that wanted to be helped. We had our first school. The next step was to get the community involved, which unfortunately we never got to that point, because 3 weeks after I dropped that library off, this school had a labor dispute with the government, and it put everything on hold, and everything was in disarray. We were actually this close to putting a pinball machine in their school. And I don't know of any school on this planet that has. So we had so much momentum going with everything that was happening at Microsoft and 401 Games and Player One Amusements. The only thing we hadn't done was launched a fundraising campaign. And so what I said to them was, look, we're not in a rush. There's no timeline. But what we would really like to be able to do is make a joint statement, because this is the one thing Path of Play has never had. When you give the games to families and autism therapy centers, it's not like Ronald McDonald House, where a family has an acute situation and their child is helped, and the parents can stay at Ronald McDonald House, and then they get this wonderful letter from the parents. That's an endorsement that charities like that need, St. Jude, all this stuff. We weren't getting any of it. And we thought this was finally the one time where it's not just me yapping, right? This kind of been the setback of Path of Play, is that it's always Mike Primeau talking. We felt like, man, we're finally going to have something where we actually look like we're truly banding arms with someone. And that's when the red tape started. It was, well, we got to shoot it up the board of directors, and well, it's got to be approved, and well, we've got this labor dispute. And I said, okay, you know what? We're in May now, and COVID is here now. So now they've solved the labor dispute, but now they've got COVID to deal with. And I said, okay, I'm just gonna back off for the whole summer. And at this time, we were doing our Codename streams with Tony Galati and Czech Games. They were sponsoring. In fact, the name of this project was called the Playroom Experiment. There's the logo. So when we were doing this with the school, this was the idea. We called it the Playroom Experiment, and it asked all of us the question, how can we better the lives of others through the world of gaming? How can we really, truly do that? Not just plop some games on a table and share it with people, but how can we have that wash, rinse, repeat experience that whether you're a pinball player, a video game player, a board game player, whoever you are, how can we kick it up a notch and really change the lives of people through games? And I love this logo because it's a beaker with like chemistry bubbles, but it's also a doorway to a playroom. And I just, man, that logo without the letters would just look so great on a hat or a hoodie or whatever. Like, I was just so proud of what this mandate could become. And suddenly I'm asking this school to write a letter with me, and out of the blue, I'm getting like these excuses. So I call them excuses because it's a piece of paper. We never said we were starting at this time. We never said all we wanted this to let because by that time we did have some donors. We hadn't publicly launched, but people that were playing code names with us, they were hearing about it. And we ended up accumulating something like 126 monthly donors. We were already over 10% of the way to our long-term goal. And we knew if we hit that goal, we would see this program in 500 schools in 10 years. We just needed the schools to be as receptive as this one was appearing to be. So with the COVID thing, I just said, okay, this is uncharted territory. I'm going to let the summer go by. The problem was in August, we started losing donors. This was when I was actually asked to work for Gamma and help them do their live streams. We were supposed to partner there, and then the Black Lives Matter movement happened, so we weren't going to push Path of Play in the gaming community there. And then August came around, and we were kind of looking like maybe we weren't doing all that much work, but behind the scenes, we were making these tutorial videos. We were developing the strategies for these kids, and it wasn't like a serious red flag seeing these donors go. It was a very small handful, but I went back to the school and I said, listen, this is happening, and I really need to be able to say something with you in public because we haven't publicly launched yet. I know the virus is still going on. We will write the joint statement. It will say COVID is the priority. Keeping teachers and students and families safe. That's the priority. There's no timeline. We just need you to know that we band arms in terms of vision. And I said, if I can't get this letter, there's going to come a point in time where I'm going to be at a very serious crossroad. And they said, okay, we'll get the letter. No problem. Well, September comes around, and I told them, I said, I absolutely must have this by the end of October. I said, if you don't think you can do this, tell me now so that I can just close the doors and we won't push the public for something that we don't know is going to happen. I mean, look, if we don't have a school saying they're banding arms with us, I'm not going to go to a community and say, oh, just keep giving us money. We'll find a way to do. That's not how I roll. There's a code of ethics that we uphold as a charity, as a non-for-profit initiative. And unless I know exactly what we can do with those funds, I'm not going to keep asking people for money. And that's why that letter was so important. It was just a one-pager. I wrote it up for them and I gave it to them. And I'm waiting and I'm waiting and I'm waiting. You're going to get it Wednesday. Yeah, they're going to do it. They're looking at it right now. I don't think there's going to be any. And it's just week after week. It was just always, oh, it's crazy here right now. It was almost like they forgot that the rest of the world was dealing with COVID, and they weren't thinking about how this was impacting our charity. If I have a letter with that school and we're making a joint statement, Path of Play is still here today. Path of Play closed its doors because at the end of it, we could not get this letter. And I finally went to the school. I said, you're either going to have to write this letter and do this with me, or I've got to get that gaming library back. And they gave me the library back. After all that time, after being booked to speak with their kids, 3 hours after I shared the idea, 3 weeks after I went there and gave them a $1,200 gaming library. It is just and it is proper to make a joint statement with the charity that helped you. And they did, and they would not do it. We waited 6 months. Excuse me. We waited 6 months for them to put something on paper. Path of Play did not end because of COVID. It ended because of a piece of paper. Because I can't go to a community and ask them for money if I don't know what I'm even doing with it. Meanwhile, we've got to pay for our website. We've got to pay for Adobe. We've got to pay for, all these things to keep the lights on stuff. It's been coming out of my pocket for 3 years. I've been paying for the Wix website out of my own pocket for 3 years. I've saved every penny I could so that we could have the gaming libraries that we wanted to build for these schools. And this school, out of the blue, just said, you know what? And it was weird because the last conversation with the principal was like, well, it's been a year. I don't even know if I'm going to be here in 2 years. The kids that you talk to, half of them aren't even here anymore. And I'm like, that doesn't matter. This here is what matters. The 36%. that 36% is always going to be there. You're always going to have 66 or 60 some odd percent of kids that aren't going to reach out to someone if they're struggling with a mental or emotional distress. That's never going to change. And you went and spent money on that. We gave you a wonderful solution that you were excited about. What happened? And to this day, I still don't have my answer. Now, in spite of that unfortunate outcome, there's a wonderful woman. Her name is Lydia Waymeyer. She's in St. Louis. This is the other partnership that we developed. And what I said to Lydia was, look, we have enough to send you a library. So we made our announcement that Path of Play was ending. A week later, we gave her, those are some of the games. We built her about an $800 library. We sent her all those games. And I said to her, you need to understand something. I have no expectations of you. We've closed our doors. You and I have put ourselves behind those doors. We're in this room together, just you and I. There's no timeline. I'm not doing any updates, nothing for the public. You just do what you think you can do with these games when you're ready, how you're ready. You need me. You call me up. I'll be there for you. And she sent me that picture last night. And she's got some RPG dice. We're going to, in the new year, we're going to do some code names online for the kids. I'm going to have a chance to talk to them, tell them this story. My wife and I are moving to a small town in a couple years. The library that the school gave back to me, this town's only 4,000 people. And whatever school Lukey ends up going to, if I'm able to, do something with them on my own time. This was why I wanted to be on the show. And this is why I'm telling the community, look in your own town. Look in the space that's around you. If you can go play games with senior citizens, if you can get a connection to a school and just go visit them once a month, let's use the power of gaming. Let's not have to. I don't need this charity to save the world, Chris. That's what I'm saying. So even though something really crappy happened with this school, and why I think it's absolutely despicable what they did, I'm not going to hang my head on that, because whatever opportunity comes next, if I dwell on that, that's going to say everything about how I handle the next situation that happens in my life or my son's life, or if I'm still connected to some of these families, or if I make a new relationship with a school. How does it help them if I'm dwelling on that? But it needed to be said once. This is the only time and the first time and only time I'm doing it. But yeah, we wrote the letter for him. It was a fair letter. There was no timeline. It was just a statement of vision. And it explained all the things we were going to do in the background to get these kids ready for when the time was right and they were safe enough to come back, and they just wouldn't do it. And it's that part is extremely sad. But my gut tells me this library that I've got back, there will be a day where under the radar, nobody has to know. It's just me taking these games. And if I have the chance to do a good thing, you love doing good things, right? You love doing good things. And you understand the power of community. Like, I always say an idea is as only good as the community that brings it to life. And that's why I say my family's not the center point of all this. I am not the center. I am such a small part of this, because it's these people. It's people like this that put on a Path of Play shirt and believed in a culture. That's why people love Starbucks coffee, because it's a culture. It's not because it's great coffee, but out of that comes a culture. These people, Josh Noble in St. Louis, they had a pinball tournament for us every year. They'd raised up to $1,000 for us so that we could buy pizza at our events. And, there's TD Bank. They donated $1,000. I was actually having some problems with my bank account. They weren't letting me transfer American funds to the Canadian bank account. This bank manager heard my story. She asked me about what Path of Play was, and the next day they donated $1,000 to Path of Play. We got so much validation. There's myself and David and Murray. There's the board of directors. Couldn't have done anything without them. These guys, man. Jerry Power, Stephanie, Joe, Kevin. Why am I can't believe I'm still forgetting her name. Michael, I got to solve this. Okay, you got to bear with me here. I got to find, why am I if she ever finds out that I'm forgetting, Demi, I didn't look it up. Her name's Demi. Okay. They've been to we've everything that we do, with Path of Play, those people have been there for everything, all of it. Demi, she would go out, she would like knit little like Nintendo characters, and she'd hand them out to the kids. Her and Michael, they're living, they're in a relationship together, and they've been there for everything. It doesn't matter how good the idea is. It's those people that make it come to life. And you know, one of these days, you know, when we get settled in this new town, we're only moving about an hour away, but as I get to know people in this small community, I'll probably have, I hope, the smaller community experience. And I can't stress it enough. I think now's a really good time. If people out there who are watching this, they have the chance to really think outside the box and how they can take the type of gaming that they love and really, really extend that in a way. It doesn't require every minute of every single day, but like, you know, I lately working in the news, I'm seeing a lot of like long-term care facilities, and I'm seeing these poor people just suffering. And I know right now when things settle down, whenever that day happens, I really, really want to spend some time in some senior homes and help them. You know, none of them know what tumbling dice is. I mean, all it takes is to have, I'll be the guy that goes to this place once a month and we'll have our tumbling dice night. That's all these people need. It's one thing to put the games on the shelf, right? You got the families that are paying the rent for them to stay at these homes, and the nurses will bring the games out and put them on the table. But man, wouldn't that be something if you had a couple kids from a high school come in and saying, "Hey, we haven't forgotten about you. We know you're still living your years out, and we want to help make that special."
That's beautiful.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
It's not rocket science, but we've forgotten to do it because there's so much social media. There's so much this and that. When we come home, I remember when we had dinner at the table, there was time to watch a movie. There was time to and really enjoy it. But now it's like we're just coming home, just waiting to go to bed, just trying to get the Schneider off the table, get everything done for the day, and it's just so routine. Yeah, we have to change that, because if we don't do it personal on our personal stage, that's going to become increasingly worse, and it's taking away time from the things that don't cost a lot of money, and it only takes a little bit of effort, but it really does change not the world, but people's worlds. There's a big difference between it, and that's the thing I've learned from this experience, is that I don't need to be in 500 schools. I just need to do my small part.
Mm-hmm.
That's you. That's what you're doing. You're trying to be that spark plug so that people will look past the four fingers and see something special that they can do outside of themselves that they never knew they had in them. And it's in all of us. It's in all of us. There's no better time than now to start doing that.
I appreciate that.
Yeah.
I want to say thank you.
Thank
so
you.
much for going on. I mean, and of course, thank you to Luke for coming down and spending some time with us.
He's a good kid.
Yeah, no, I appreciate you, and I know that I know that Path to Play is not anymore, but
It's not. It's okay.
And I would love to see somebody else pick up that mantle.
You know, it's not even that I've necessarily completely let it go. It's, you know, it's not like I'm saying the hell with the world. I'm going to go in my own little cubbyhole and just take care of myself. That's not what I'm doing. I'm just realizing that, you know, the stage, while we were on the stage, great things happened. Do I wish it would have continued? Yes. Do I think it could have continued? Absolutely. No doubt in my mind. But things do happen for a reason. Yeah. And maybe what's better is, you know, maybe the new model is now this message where, you know, you and I are here together tonight and we're asking more people to just see if they can take some time. And it's not just about like, hey, throw $5 in and you might win this prize. We always, you know, there's there you know, we've talked about that, but you can, if you want to make this world a better place, you get out of bed and you make the decision to do so. That's it.
That is the truth.
That is it.
That is the truth. That is something I've been trying to talk about for some time.
Yep.
But it's beautiful.
I can't thank you enough, Chris.
Time, Mike.
You've become a good friend.
I appreciate it, brother. I
Yeah.
appreciate it. Well, if any of you are interested in finding out more about Mike and just want to just chat with him, I mean, what's the best way that they can just say hi to you, or if parents are dealing with autism or dealing with kids that have autism, I mean, how can they reach you just to ask for maybe advice on maybe some games or some approaches?
Always happy to talk. And yeah, I'm shipping out a couple games to a family that I know tomorrow. But my email address is pathofplayproject@gmail.com. I still check it. The website's been pulled down, but you can also reach out to me via Facebook. Probably the best way would be to you just join the Path of Play group. It's facebook.com/groups /Path of Play. Is that what it is?
Probably.
Let me double check. Well, I've got the public page and then I've got the private group. So facebook.com /groups /Path of Play. Join that group. We'll let you in, and you can, by all means, you can absolutely send me a message, or if you even want to send a message to me personally, Mike Primeau, Primeau, and I'm happy to answer any questions if people have them. If I have answers that help them, then that's great.
Well, I think you've given some people hope today, and I want to say thank you. So
thank you, man. I'm glad to be here. It was great. We almost didn't talk about that tonight, and I think it was the right thing to do.
I agree.
Yeah,
I agree.
I was worried about time too. That's all my fault.
It's all good, man.
Look at the transcribe, brother.
You had a message that you had to talk about, and that's what matters. I mean, that's what I mean. Like I said, that thing up in the top left of my screen doesn't say "talking with Chris." It's just talking with Mike.
Oh, speaking of the thing at the top, we talked about Evil Dead. You see the Book of the Dead?
Oh, I do see it. I saw your Boba Fett helmet though. That's the thing that stood out most to me.
Yeah, I gotta put cookies in that in about 3 days.
That sounds good.
Oh yeah, it's a cookie jar.
I like it. I like it a lot.
Yeah.
But yeah. Well, folks, we're gonna go ahead and close it out. Once again, thank you again to Mike for coming on. And remember, if we can gather at the table, we can also do the same for a good cause. So see you all later, and we'll be back in just a little bit with Amy, and we're gonna play a game called Flatter Me, which is all about complimenting people. So it's gonna be fun.
You're so pretty, Chris.
I have too much fun. All right, we'll see y'all later.
Good night, everybody. Thank you.
Bye. We'd like to also thank The Op for sponsoring tonight's live stream.